It's more user error than technology error, really.
Well, at least you're man enough to admit it.
Yeah, no, it's totally me. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
We're not even
At
into
least
the episode yet.
I was like, we didn't even start the episode yet.
When these dads meet world, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades. When these dads meet world.
They want you to take the roles. They do. They want you to take the roles. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Dads Meet World, your weekly deep dive into that classic show known as Boy Meets World. I am one of your dads taking you through this journey of this episode, Tyler, and joining me is...
I'm Brett, your other dad, who is your guide to this seminal episode.
Yes. Brett, this is a unofficial two-part episode, would you say?
I would say so, yes. In the days of when TV wasn't really serialized, I'd say this was an early peak at serialization.
Yeah. I mean, later on in the show, we will get true, like, part one, part two episodes, but this is, like, truly unofficial. Like, whatever, like, the things that they set up this episode really come into play next episode. So that's why, for me, I'm like, This is basically a two-part episode. Because, also, unfortunately, spoiler alert, Dana, she's here this episode. She comes back next episode. Yay! And then we don't see her for another 2 seasons.
As she's off on the other side of the school.
Yes. Weird. But yeah, also, we'll get there eventually, but this is just another episode that proves that continuity means nothing to the creators of the show. Like, they will throw in anyone and everybody that is relevant to the plot into any classroom that they have whatsoever. We'll get more into that later. At least it's not English like it was last season, because I swear everything important happened in English class. But
oh, yes.
Yeah. Brett, how was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was nice and quiet. It was just us at the house, and my brother stopped by, and a good friend of ours stopped by as well. So nice, very low-key, very unplugged vibes. And then I just got back a little while ago from our city's tree lighting ceremony.
Ooh.
Where Santa even comes down from the North Pole to arrive on a ladder truck with the town mayor to kick off the festivities. And
Nice.
I'm not sure if it happens every year or not, but loads of fireworks. I mean, I was not expecting the budget to be this big for fireworks for this at the same time as a tree was lit up.
Well, I mean, I've driven on the roads of your community, so
I mean, we're a nice city. I mean, we've got a decent budget. I mean, we're not poor as a community, but yeah, I was expecting like a 5-minute thing, but it went on for almost 15 minutes.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, I'm not complaining at all. I'm just thinking, wow, this is more than I was expecting. But yeah, the kids even got to see a couple of live reindeer, so
nice.
Yeah, good evening. How was
Did you
your
do
Thanksgiving,
Black
Tyler?
Friday shopping?
No, none at all.
Oh, wow.
I stayed home. I don't do any of the in-person Black Friday deals.
So you did it all online. I see.
Oh, yes. How was Thanksgiving for you, Tyler?
Thanksgiving was quite good for me. We always go to my mom's house for Thanksgiving. Had our traditional dishes. I was a little disappointed. I made my broccoli salad, but we got, instead of heads of lettuce or heads of broccoli, we got like a bag of broccoli, and I misjudged how much broccoli was needed. So I had too much broccoli, not enough sauce, so I feel like next week I'm gonna make it again with the opposite of too little broccoli and too much sauce, which is probably the way it needs to be regardless. But yeah, I just didn't like none of it like really soaked into the broccoli, so which was a little
Mm-hmm.
disappointing. But other than that, it was a good Thanksgiving. The youngest one, Henry, he got to hang out with his little cousins. Because for each me and my siblings, we all had kids in the span of 18 months. So the oldest one, I won't say their names because I feel like I shouldn't, but she is just running around really confused why her cousin, Henry, why he's not as tall, why he is tall, as tall as her, if not maybe taller, but why she can run around and he is still crawling, and why he needs our
Yep.
assistance to stand. Um, and then the other one, like he is still really little because he was born in the middle of the year. He's just like constantly looking around like what's happening, what's going on. So just seeing the different
What are you
levels
doing to
of
me?
this first Christmas, or first not Christmas, first Thanksgiving with these three is just really fun and adorable. And we all just keep saying, oh boy, let's just wait till next year. Next year's gonna be crazy here. And I just, you know, we keep joking that the two boys are eventually going to become best friends and just annoy the older one, the girl, and we're just like,
That's
well,
probably what's going to happen.
I'm like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen eventually. It's just the little one's got to catch up. It won't take long.
Oh, yes.
Um,
That's what's going to happen.
yeah, and then we were talking off mic beforehand, but I am a hunter, so I did go out today for first day in Pennsylvania. I will say for the good-looking people, I hunt mostly to spend time with my father. It's tradition, and to keep my family safe. So if anyone's out there that's like hunting is horrible, I don't fully disagree with you, but if you don't hunt deer, they become a really big problem. Almost every other animal, I couldn't give two craps if I hunt or not. But deer are the one that I'm most concerned about, causing a car wreck in my area. So that's why I mostly go out and hunt. So spend time with father, protect my family. So also the meat's really good. Like if you've ever had a venison burger, oh, I dreamed of having another one of those. But yeah,
There
things
you
are
go.
halfway decent. Hopefully tomorrow, I'll be able to go catch a deer. So I will
Well, here's
keep people
hoping.
posted. I'll send you a picture. I got a deer that like trotted up towards me and was mere feet away from me. I think I'll do it right now because why not? But in the meantime, Brett, why don't we get into that synopsis?
Certainly. Today, this week, whenever you're listening, we are getting into episode 15 of season 3, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. Ah, very play on words. Shawn's bad boy image costs him a date with a nice girl, so he recruits Cory to teach him how to be boyfriend material. Meanwhile, Eric tries to land an internship at a local TV station. This episode was written by Kevin Kelton. This is his third of 4 Boy Meets World episodes. Previously, we had him writing Pop Quiz and City Slackers. He also wrote for Saturday Night Live and Night Court. Directed by Jeff McCracken. Originally aired February 2nd, 1996. And currently enjoys a 7.7 IMDb rating. Now, Tyler, we're about to get into
Vast emotional damage.
That's right, it's everyone's favorite game show, Vast Emotional Damage, where we attempt to stump Tyler and see if he can guess how many million viewers tuned in for the premiere of each episode.
It's not hard.
Now, it's very unfair to Tyler because this is a wildly wide range of numbers.
I mean, I
But,
could just look them up to make life easier and just read you the exact number. But
You
that doesn't
could,
that doesn't
but I
seem
appreciate
fair.
that you don't because it's fun content. So, previous episode came in at 18.7 million. How many million do you think came in for this one?
You know, I'm thinking it's going to be close to that 18 again. So I'm going to go 17.7.
Well, by Price is Right rules, you do win the showcase, 18.6 million.
Okay, all right, I'll take that.
There you go.
I feared it was like 18, 18.1, so that's why I figured I'd go with 17.
We really didn't lose any viewers. Well, not many from last week to this week, and we're into what used to be known as February sweeps.
Yeah. But it's, I don't know, it feels like potentially whatever marketing they're doing right now is working.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it could just be that the audience has finally found what they are looking for right now, and the show has kind of gotten in line of like, oh, when we focus on Cory and Shawn and Eric, things go well.
Mm-hmm. I think they finally found their footing a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, Brett, we start this episode off in Chubby's. We see Shawn on one of his classic dates. Apparently, he's dating Dana, and I'm assuming you have her IMDb ready to go.
I do. This is Dana Pruitt, played by Larissa Oleynik. This is her first of 3 appearances, as we already hinted at on Boy Meets World. She has 60 acting credits to her name, including The Babysitter's Club, The Adventures of Pete and Pete, The Secret World of Alex Mack, which she actually guested here on Boy Meets World while she was starring in The Secret World of Alex Mack, for anyone who's interested. Her big breakout, 10 Things I Hate About You, Third Rock from the Sun, Malcolm in the Middle, Aliens in America, Psych, Mike and Molly, Hawaii Five-0, Mad Men, and a lot more.
Oh.
You're trying to figure out what she played in Psych, aren't you?
No, I was thinking about 10 Things I Hate About You. I was thinking about the TV show, but that's What I Like About You, not 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh,
so
yes.
that means the movie, and I'm thinking that
Yes.
means she played the love interest.
She was the younger sister. She was Joseph
Yeah.
Gordon-Levitt's love interest, yes.
Yes, the episode where Robin and the Joker are best buds.
Oh, yes.
I got to say, one of my favorite combination swear, like one of my favorite swears of all time happened in that movie when they're at prom, and the guy who was from the Santa Claus movies, Bernard, he uses a very Shakespearean way of saying that the poo has hit the fan, but I don't want to get us in trouble right now. So it's one of my favorite swears of all time.
Oscillating. Yes, it's been a while since I've watched that movie.
Yeah,
but
that's a good
it
one.
used to be one of Kelly's favorites.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Oh. What is that? Did she also like She's All That?
Not
Freddie
that
Prinze?
I'm aware of.
Oh,
No.
that seems like a Kelly movie. Anyway, yeah, so nice little deterrent for us. But yes, apparently Shawn is quite happy with their date because Dana kisses well, which, you know, again, for 2 grown men to be talking about it is awkward and
It's
weird.
a little bit awkward.
Yeah, a little awkward. And just
Yeah.
the in-depthness that he's going in this, and I'm hoping that when I ask, do you have a clip of this, you're going to say no, because I don't want
I do not.
Okay, thank good. I don't want to hear Shawn
No.
describe it.
No, I
don't
figured we wouldn't want to spend too much on this.
I don't want to read off any of the lines. Just what we need to understand is that Shawn is admitting to this girl that he kisses way too easy, way too often, and instead of going from talking about let's go on a second date because Shawn said I really like you, it turned to let's just be done with this date, which is not a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but apparently
and
Dana...
there are some.
Oh,
Well, there's some fun little nuggets here, like his quote from Chet. Like, Shawn doesn't do volunteer work. His dad says, only do volunteer work if they'll reduce your sentence. And, we find out that Shawn
That's
doesn't love
that's a
picnics.
nice Shawn impersonating Chet Hunter. I like it.
But yeah, but Shawn is just, he's so focused on the physical aspect of relationships that it's just, it's very disheartening that that's where all of his energy has gone.
Yeah, but Dana likes to volunteer, and Dana likes picnics. And that's something that Shawn doesn't want to do either of.
Yep.
But also, in fairness to him, growing up in a trailer park and potentially either sometimes scrambling for food and probably eating outside awkwardly in weird places, he might not have any interest in picnics because they haven't been a pleasant thing for him.
Yes, his life experience is not one that would naturally lend itself to volunteer work and picnics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably had a picnic or two with Verna, but it could have been for a bad reason he was having that picnic.
Yeah. So, but we do find out he has a reputation that has very much preceded him here.
Yep. So, yeah, Shawn wants to get back to doing what they do best, and she says, let's just go get going home. We get to school the next day, and apparently
I do have
Cory...
his conversation with
Oh, good.
Cory
Please,
clip.
play this.
Needless to say, I'm a little upset.
You're always upset.
Well, more than usual. You see, this morning I'm having breakfast with Janitor Bud.
Janitor Bud?
I owed him. And, we're talking, and it comes up that last night you were out with Dana Pruitt.
Yeah, I went out with Dana.
So? So first of all, you don't tell me, and second of all, Dana Pruitt is a very nice girl.
Yeah, very nice.
Shawn, a nice girl like that can ruin your reputation. I mean, Janitor Bud and I were shocked.
Wow. And Bud's seen dead bodies.
I'm saying. So, what was it like going out with a nice girl?
Cory, I'm not the type of guy that talks about the women I go out with.
Yeah, you are. Where you been? I mean, if it wasn't for your stories and the little pictures you draw me, I wouldn't know nothing.
Well, I don't want to talk about Dana. And don't ask me to draw her.
Brett, I don't think people should be drawing pictures of other people.
Not without their consent, and probably not in the way that Cory is hinting at.
Probably. I love the idea that they still refer to Janitor Bud as Janitor Bud, even though the last time we saw him, he was being Mr. Feeney's secretary.
Yes, he was administrative assistant Bud. And I love the idea that Cory is still paying off some sort of debt to Janitor Bud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably because of getting him fired, in all honesty.
Probably.
I love the ease of it and like how natural it's like, I owed him one. And Janitor Bud and I were quite shocked.
And he's seen dead bodies.
Yeah, this show does a great job of taking things we already know is real and just adding more layers into it, and giving more context. Those are always the fun things I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
It's when we disregard all those things just for the quick laughs. But,
yes.
yeah, an interesting thing occurs now, Brett, because Dana comes over and says hello to Cory, which is a little confusing.
Yeah, she's very different with Shawn, too.
Yes, but they go over to have a little conversation, and apparently it doesn't go well for Shawn.
No. She wants another date. With how does it get put? I wrote it here in my notes. Pumped up pretty boy jock is what Cory expects to hear.
Yeah, wants to date another guy,
but it's
probably some pumped up pretty boy jock. It's you. I know. I was right.
Huh? I was right. So Dana wants to date a nice boy like Cory.
Mm-hmm.
And not just like Cory.
Yeah, and this is also that whole Cory is different after a certain point in season 2 going into season 3 where it's like Cory is straight up a nice person, good boy, like never does anything wrong, even though first season for sure he was doing plenty of things wrong, and even into the second season.
Troublemaker.
And this season's
Completely.
still doing things that are wrong.
Mhm.
So there's
Yeah,
more
we've
shenanigans,
gone from
I guess.
pirate radio Cory to Cory's a nice boy.
Yeah. So that dichotomy of Cory is super nice and cute and cuddly and parent approved, even though he's still doing things and getting in trouble at school and with Feeney. So in between the conversation, though, with Dana and Shawn walking away and finding out what that was about, Eric comes up to Mr. Williams, or Eli, as we like to refer to him, as saying, "Hey, I got a problem with my my whatchamacallit, my journalism assignment."
His journalism assignment.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. Yeah, we just want to talk to him about his journalism
And that's-
paper, and he's like, "All right, go ahead."
Another episode of Eric Matthews Excuse Theater.
Mhm. I do love their guesses on what it is, because both
I love how
Eli
they play
and
with
Turner,
him on this.
because I'm sure he uses them in both of the classes, and I like how he goes, "Hey, can you, I'm trying to get into college," and he goes, "Yes, study. Come on, I'm being serious."
Come on, I'm being serious here.
But apparently there's a
Oh yeah.
news internship that Eli has, I guess, set up with the local radio station he used to work for, and so a student from John Adams High is able to apply to see if he can make it into the program, which we'll get into more next week. But I have so many questions about this program that they have set up, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently Eli thinks they're going to scrutinize every applicant based on grades and SAT scores. And Turner's like, "Hey, what are you talking about? It's TV." He goes,
It's television.
"He's a lock."
You're right. He's a lock.
Oh, yes.
How very, very meta of them.
But yeah, apparently Shawn is now discouraged because he went from "I like a nice girl" to there's 2 girls wearing leather jackets, so those are the girls he's gonna go talk with. Because apparently girls with leather jackets are, quote unquote, a certain way that Eric or Shawn likes. Well, probably Eric too, but just
Yeah.
a little uncomfortable with the way they are trying to define of what a good person, good boy, good girl, all that jazz, nice people compared to easy or fast people. Just the way in which it's all coming around just feels icky. I can't avoid
And
that.
I give them a little, I give them a little bit of grace on that, in that it's a little bit of TV shorthand, and he does call them by name, so he's at least familiar with them, at least by reputation. And we're talking a lot about reputation in the
Fair.
episode.
But they're wearing leather jackets, Brett. Is it the leather jacket's fault? I don't think so.
No, it's not the leather jacket's fault. It's the short skirt.
We do go to the Matthews house, and probably one of the most interesting cut scenes, or like, transition scenes, like transaction lines. And that's exactly what it says. "Yes, but Morgan, how do we really know that the light bulb goes out when you shut the door?" And I love this little interaction that Morgan and Shawn are having, because this is the
It's
type
great.
of thing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying it's great.
Oh, I thought you had it clipped. I'm sorry. Yeah, no,
No.
it's just that's the type of thing. Like, if you are a teenager and you have a friend and you're close to the family, like, You would have that conversation with a little one because why not? Like you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
pass time and you ask the little one random silly questions and they love it. And except for Morgan because she's a sassy teenager already.
Yeah.
We'll have to bring my sister back on and get her opinion on this new Morgan because I think I see a lot of her in her, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But Alice says
Yeah.
something to her which I think is spot on, which is you're the only person in this house that has a bedtime story or a bedtime. Bedtime. Why don't you use it? It's just that as a parent you're like, gosh, I'd love for a bedtime. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say it's time for you to go to bed, Mister or Missy.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
but
would
apparently
love
Shawn
that
is
some
is
nights.
waiting at the Matthews house because Cory's supposed to be coming back from his date anytime, and he wanted to be there to support his buddy. And as Alan is going up the
Yeah.
stairs, he says, "Why don't we just adopt him and get the tax deduction?"
I put a note in there I jotted in my notes about that. It's like just a fun little. He's always there. He's might as well,
Mhm.
I mean, it's like a fun little foreshadowing for something way down the road where that option is put on the table.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Even with Grayson, like, if I had another little person about his same size who's eating as much as he does, I'm really worried about the future, man, because groceries are already so expensive right now. And I can't imagine having two
Yep.
teenagers in the house eating so much.
Oh, yeah. One teenager and one fourth grader is rough.
Yeah, I believe that.
Now, thankfully, our other teenager eats like a bird.
Okay, again, I will state your oldest, when we were on our trip, was laying down and out for a whole day. And the first thing that they consumed is Doritos. And I said, don't you think you want like some fruit or a veggie or some protein? No, I want these. Okay.
Yeah. No, we don't normally keep a lot of that stuff around the house, so that's a big part of why.
That's fair. And I will say, this does help me because I was thinking about this earlier today. I think we may have been too hard on Topanga last episode. Because one of the things that we don't take into consideration sometimes, not I'm saying we as in you and I, but I think just in general, in the zeitgeist of reviewing stuff, sometimes I think we forget that the people that they are portraying are broken teenagers. And just because Topanga really was introduced as this manic pixie fantasy girl does not mean that she is actually perfect, And I think one of the things that's helpful, and one of the reasons why when they get back together it works so well is because I think Topanga really does become more of a full-fledged, opinionated character, not just I come in, everything's fine, and everything's wonderful. And I think especially this episode helps to establish that of more of this is my opinion. This is the rough, unfiltered, truthful opinion that I will always give you from this point forward. So I can't wait till we get to that. So yeah, Cory comes back, and I will say,
When Cory comes home.
Cory comes home with blue scarf, red hat, or red hat, a red. Oh my gosh, red coat, red winter
puffy coat.
and Brett, he has 2 gloves.
Yes,
and a hat.
And there's snow outside.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yes, it's February in Philadelphia, and there's snow outside. I know you're excited for that.
Yes, finally they're doing something right. Although, speaking of not doing something right, apparently Amy cooked a really dry turkey this evening, which is very sad.
Yeah.
Um,
Sean's still chewing on it. But I did clip a big chunk of their conversation
please.
About the date.
How was your date with Dana?
It was a date.
Oh, come on, I give you more than that.
Look, Shawn, if you want to know if I kissed her, the answer's no.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. So do you like her?
Yeah, she's fine.
No, come on. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like Dana Pruitt? 10 being Topanga on your first date, and 1 being the lunchroom lady in a thong.
7.
Good. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10...
Wait a minute, Shawn. I've never seen you act like this. Are you fluey?
I've got a little tickle, but I don't think that's what it is.
You know, I think you're coming down with a bad case of Dana.
I don't know, Cora. All I know is that all through the dry turkey, knowing you were going out with Dana, I kept just wanting to take the carving knife and stab you in the head. No offense.
No offense.
No offense.
You know, Brett, the whole time that I was grilling up pork chops and shrimp and burgers, all I could think to myself was, I gotta take the spatula and go in there and smack Brett in the head. No offense.
Well, it couldn't have been for the same reason Shawn was thinking it.
No, although I will say, I don't know why I have our trip on the brain, but it did make me giggle anytime, like, especially Kelly would be like, do you have sides prepared? And I went, Kelly, I'm taking care of the meat. That's what I care about. If you guys want sides, you're going to figure those out. And she goes, okay, note to self. If Tyler's cooking, he's only cooking the main entree. It's like, yes, I am.
Cook the whole meal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we get a lot of good stuff here. Shawn and, Cory's finally cluing into the fact that Shawn really is into Dana, and that it's not just, oh, you like her. No, it's you really like her.
Mm-hmm.
As he puts it, come down with a bad case of the Dana.
Yes.
Of Dana.
But, Brett, we go back to the school, and apparently, Artie, or Arthur, is also going for the internship. He's a straight-A student. Yes. And apparently he is...
And Arthur...
Sorry, go ahead.
Is portrayed by Danny Strong. First and only time we'll see him on Boy Meets World. 54 credits on his resume. Saved by the Bell, a New Class, Third Rock from the Sun, Seinfeld, Clueless, Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Seabiscuit, Johnny Bravo, Gilmore Girls, How I Met Your Mother, Mad Men, Billions, and more.
Gilmore Girls, when you leave, I will follow. Sorry,
I wondered which one of those you'd sing.
I need a new song since we're getting away from Step by Step.
I know. I've been desperately looking for Step by Step in all of these IMDb's. It's the first one I look for.
It's all right. Yeah, he, for lack of better wording, this character and the actor has a real punchable face, if you know what I mean.
I wrote down he's perfectly cast as a smug dweeb.
Yeah. Is this a Strong?
But I like your way better.
Ryder Strong brother?
I did not see that anywhere.
No. Well, I know that Shiloh is his older brother, but I didn't know if he had another brother or if he had a cousin Strong. I don't know.
I didn't see that anywhere in his IMDb, so I'm not certain if there's a familiar relationship.
I guess I'm thinking about Jack, because I know he has 2 other brothers that act, and they've done plenty of things together, the 3 of them. So that probably is what I'm thinking about. So probably no relation. Who knows? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's a fun interaction between Eric and Artie here, and I did clip it just because I find it so funny.
You were up for the same internship. Eric, I want to save you the embarrassment. I'm a straight-A student. My documentaries have garnered multiple film festival honors. And I have a letter of recommendation from Ted Turner.
Your point?
I could walk in without pants and get this job.
I've seen you in gym class, Arthur. Wear pants.
Wear pants.
It's a favorite of mine. I could walk in without pants and get this job.
Maybe that's what we need. We need wear pants shirts.
Wear pants.
I'm just gonna say, if someone in high school has documentaries out and Ted Turner knows them personally, you don't need a news.
What are you doing in Philly?
Right. Well, I mean, you could be in Philly and work in New York, but you don't need a news internship.
You don't need the internship. Yeah.
Right. Oh, well. But apparently the blood drive is happening because Dana is the one that's heading that up, and it's happening right in the middle of the hallway, because where else is it going to be in the school, Brett? It's only possible in the hallway. And
it's just that's why it's such a low-income school.
Shawn brings some blood and also brings pork chops for her. But in fairness to Shawn, this is his version of listening and going above and beyond.
Yes, not only did he decide that he is going to volunteer with her, but he brought blood for her.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much of this, if you clipped any of this conversation between the two of them whatsoever, but
no.
You know, he starts to talk with Dana, and he says something like, "Man, I could just talk to you for hours." And she goes, "Well, what would we talk about?" And those traps in middle school, high school relationships drive me crazy. Because unfortunately, ladies, and I need you to hear me on this, especially if you're a younger lady, teenage boys aren't good at that. It's a skill that has to be taught and learned. You cannot expect them to just take the lead on conversations. Like, I very much remember being on a couple of phone calls with a couple different girls/girlfriends and just being in awkward silence because they were waiting for me to just, ask them questions and talk their ear off. And it's like, I'm not ready for that. Like, I don't know how to talk to you on the phone right now. Like, you have to learn things.
Yep. Yeah. Take the time to train them.
Yes, I agree completely. I mean, luckily for my wife, I already knew how to talk on the phone by the time we started talking. And also, I was much more confident who I was at that time. So, maybe that's also part of it, too. You don't know what to ask the questions if you don't know, who you are in general. But,
yep.
Yeah. That's one of the few things that I'm like, practice these things. Practice will help you.
Yeah.
But apparently, Shawn is just not boyfriend material.
He's not. And largely it's not. She bases a lot of it on his reputation and one date rather than taking a second date to really push to get to know him.
But if she knew what his reputation was, why would she go on the first date?
Mm-hmm. Especially if she's, the quote-unquote good girl.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw Shawn get rejected last year. Gonna go on a date and then didn't go on a date because, hello, do you know what his family is?
Yep.
And then we get to one of the most interesting scenes in the whole episode, Brett. Well, almost. No? Yeah. Topanga shows up into the lunchroom because all of this is happening now in the lunchroom with Cory and Shawn talking. And
yeah.
Did you clip any of this or no?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Let me bring it up here.
Did you where he actually asks her out? Did you get that part?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Just go ahead and play the clip then.
Topanga, as the hottest and perhaps flashiest girl at the nice girl camp, would you ever consider going out with Shawn?
Well, he'd have to ask me.
Topanga, would you ever consider going out with me?
No.
Why wouldn't you go out with me?
You want the truth?
Yeah, I want the truth.
You couldn't handle the truth.
I could handle the truth.
He could handle the truth.
No, he couldn't.
Give him the truth.
And you'll take responsibility for how he feels about it.
Absolutely.
You don't understand women. You don't know what we are, you don't know how we feel, and you don't know what we think. You see us as dating objects, and the faster we are, the more you want us. And until you can grow up and see beyond that, no matter how many girls you go out with, you will always be lonely.
You let her say that to me?
She's lying.
You know, that's the Topanga we know and love.
Yes.
Give her a couple inches and shorter hair, and that's literally who she is from season 4 until the end of the show.
Yep.
You know, she tells the truth. She tells it as it is. This is not the Topanga of the beginning of this season who did go out with Shawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to Chubby's at least once and then went to the movies with her. Conspiracy?
Yeah.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can add that to, we can retroactively congratulate ourselves on our theory that it was just all a big ploy.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just,
But yeah,
I mean, this is the theme of this episode, that Shawn doesn't understand girls and won't understand them. But in fairness to Shawn, the first part that she's talking about can apply to every single guy out there. Like, none of us will ever know what you're thinking, ladies. That's why you have to tell us. That's why you have to communicate with us. Sometimes you have to write things down in a list form. Otherwise, we didn't realize that we're supposed to do those things. You know?
yeah. And I mean, as the conversation goes on, I found it interesting. They kind of circle back to this: every girl's afraid of getting hurt, and Shawn lets it slip that they know this. So on some level, he already knew he wasn't boyfriend material, so to speak. So it's not the issue that this is a big revelation for him. The issue more so is that he's hurt by the fact that he's being found out.
Yeah. Well, it's the fact that he can't avoid what is reality. The way he has treated girls, he's not willing to take responsibility for that up to this point.
Yeah, as Turner puts it regarding his reputation later on, the one thing you worked on and it blew up in your face.
But we're at the news station, Brett. And apparently Arthur just got done with his interview. And apparently he has a very long resume.
I've never seen a resume that long.
Yeah, you have to literally have everything about your life to be that long at this point. But for the good-looking people, I didn't do a deep dive on this. I'll just tell you, 2 pages, and that's it. That's the maximum for a resume. Do not go more than 2 pages.
Anything more than that, they're not looking at it.
Right. Honest to goodness, put things that are relevant. I'm at a point now where there's many jobs I don't put on my resume that I've had because they're not relevant to several of the jobs I'm applying for. And that's okay. When people ask, hey, how come there's a gap in your job history? Oh, I had a job that wasn't relevant. That's the answer. So, yeah, just forewarn, don't have a book as your resume. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything. No one's looking at it.
Yep. And the station manager is played by, she's referred to as Ms. Cannon, but she's credited as a character by the name of only Sonia.
Yeah.
So,
So Sonia
this
Cannon.
is Kimberly Scott. Yeah, exactly. This is Kimberly Scott. First and only time we'll see her in Boy Meets World. 77 credits on her resume, including shows like Chicago Hope, ER, Batman Forever, MacGyver, Flatliners, The Abyss, Third Rock from the Sun, Batman and Robin, not the same character, Jag, Sister Sister, NYPD Blue, Will and Grace, Everyone Loves Raymond, Seventh Heaven, Medium, Bob Hart's Abishola, and more.
That's a lot.
And that's just a snippet.
Yes. Eric's trying to figure out how to fudge his resume to bulk it up a little bit, even though it's literally interview time. And he comes up saying, "Hey, I'm supposed to have my interview." And she laughs, says, "Oh, you're actually Eric Matthews. It's not a joke. Come on in."
The look on his face as she's laughing in his face is just, and I the interaction between them is so horrific that in the real world, this would almost be grounds to hand him the internship on the spot, with as afraid as corporations are of being sued.
Mm-hmm. This is the 90s.
Today,
Brett.
not in 1996.
Yeah, no.
1996, whatever. He's a high school student, but that's just to laugh in his face like that, to assume that, oh, I thought that was just a joke Eli was playing on me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a very. This woman does not have a lot of tact.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but apparently we're now in Mr. Feeney's history class, and Dana is in this class, for the record, everybody. And he's apparently doing a lecture about how, if media and the way that we take in information is like what it is today, with the way that things are scrutinized, people like Franklin Roosevelt or John F. Kennedy might not have been president. And Shawn raises his hands and says, "Do you consider John Kennedy a great president?" And Feeney, without missing a beat, says, "Well, his time was short, but he got things done, and I think he did well." He's like, "Well, the fact that he was a Babe Mackett didn't make him less great." And Dana then pipes up going, "Well, maybe he was a good, he did some things good, but he wasn't a good husband. It makes him less of a good leader." And all the girls going, "Yeah." And so then,
Oh yeah, that's
just the back and forth
is
of,
interesting.
saying something about the boys, yeah, saying about the girls, yeah. Mr. Feeney going, "Aha, this is great. How about this? You tell me your opinion in a paper. Due tomorrow."
One essay due tomorrow.
Yeah. But I
I
love,
love how Shawn is just ready for detention. Like,
that's exactly. Let's get a
when's
break
detention?
up. He was like, "All right, when's my detention?" It's like, no. You did a good thing. It's like Feeney was surprised, like, "Oh my gosh, they're relating to this." Hot dog. Take advantage. What do I do, George? I know. 1-page paper.
Quick. Write an essay.
Yeah.
Basically, anyone who turns it in and it looks relatively coherent is getting credit.
Mm-hmm. But Eric comes out of his interview, Brett, and he doesn't seem like he did well. Apparently he was sweating too much.
Yes, and he meets a gentleman by the name of Pat, who is played by Brandon Maggart.
Mm-hmm.
First of 2 times we'll see him on Boy Meets World. Of course, he'll be in the next episode. 50 acting credits on his resume, including Car 54, Where Are You?, Newhart, Murphy Brown, Who's the Boss?, ER, Married with Children, The Sentinel, and a bunch more.
Mm-hmm. They have a very interesting interaction. Eric's talking to him like, "Man, I blew the interview." He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll get out of your way." And the guy's going over to the trash can, and Eric holds the trash can up a little higher. Which, in some ways you're like, what's the point of that? On the other hand, it's a kind of a nice gesture, because it's like, hey, instead of you bending over to, really dump this out, I'll take the moment, lift it up towards you, and then it's a little easier on you. It's just a little bit of kindness. He's talking to this guy who he assumes is the janitor about how all these other guys have, straight A's, and they have all these things on their resumes, which I didn't realize high school students had resumes back at this time, but sure. And he's just trying to say, I wish I could tell her that I would do so much better than those guys. I would do so much better than these guys because I need it more. And I'd work so hard. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, did you tell that to her? He goes, no, I choked and I got in my head and, I just messed myself up. He goes, and I just blew it with the most important person in the station. He goes, no, you didn't. I am. And he goes, what? And he goes, Pat Darby, station manager. Where? Right here. Shaking the hand of our new intern. I'll see you Monday. Be yourself or I'll fire you. And he's like, thank you. Yep. I'll be here. One more real quick thing. Before I go home and tell my parents, do you have a business card and a photo ID? Which is the smartest thing in 3 seasons that Eric has ever said. Because he is gullible, but it's showing here that he is reasonable.
He is learning. I love the fact that he asks for some sort of proof before he goes and tells his parents he got the job.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's true. It's not just some janitor pulling my leg.
Uh-huh. Eric is learning from past mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Cory's trying to encourage Shawn as they're walking into Mr. Turner's place, and Cory is walking in with one glove. And so Cory catches up Mr. Turner by just saying Dana Pruitt. He says, nice girl. Shawn Hunter. Oh, now I've caught you up to speed. I'm done here. And he leaves to go with his one mitten into the blizzard, apparently. Godspeed to him.
Shawn, it seems to me the people you care most about in the world are not very fast and flashy.
Hey, look, it's the scarf of mine I lost last year.
Yes! You mean Cory, don't you?
You think? See this guy right here? This is your best relationship. You guys listen to each other, and you really trust each other.
And that's what girls are looking for?
Oh, yeah. Especially the nice ones.
It's funny, because Dana's the only girl that I've ever really listened to.
Yeah, you see? Does she know that?
I can tell her.
Do better. Show her.
So, Shawn and Turner have a nice long conversation about the whole situation, basically, of what's been going on in this episode and getting into the roots of the whole thing. And the whole time, Cory's looking for his glove because he's lost his glove and he's got to find it. He's lost both of them. What is he going to do now? And I love
the scar from last year.
Yeah, this dichotomy going on between the two of them in this scene is just ridiculous, but makes it clear that Cory is not just quote unquote a nice person. He's just himself, and he's kind of forgetful, even though he's smart and clumsy.
I had it the whole time.
Yeah, I will say in the beginning of the
Velcro.
scene, you watch him walk in with, or you see at one point that he walks back in with the glove in his coat. So good on the art deck for that, or wardrobe, whoever it is.
Yeah.
But yes, we go to Chubby's.
Solid advice from Turner.
Yes, great advice from Turner. We go to Chubby's where Cory is playing pool by himself. Dana comes up and is kind of being flirty. And Cory is trying to be like, no, I am not I'm spoken for, but, someone else likes you and I cannot betray that trust. But then we hear on the loudspeaker, apparently they have that at Chubby's, where owner of a bright red hypoallergenic ski jacket with one mitten, please claim it at the counter.
After he's talking about being dark and dangerous.
Yes, exactly. But Dana walks outside and discovers Shawn. He's set up a little picnic for the two of them.
Yeah, in the middle of February. Well, beginning of February.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Right in the middle of winter.
There's been some snow, and so I guess it makes sense that he's trying to, in the cold, have a picnic with her, because that's what she said she liked. But things are frozen that aren't supposed to be frozen, including his lips. But they end up having a real conversation about how he likes her. Not because of the whole kissing thing, but because he likes her. And she says, well, I like you too. I like you. And they both kind of agree that they allowed for outside interference to get in the way of them seeing if they actually, can make it work.
Yep. And I like that Shawn kind of shows his resolve to do better by Dana by not sealing it with a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Why rush?
Yeah. Oops. But they go back inside. Gonna eventually go on a second date, probably just to get Shawn warm for right now.
Probably. A burger and hot chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
we get
warm
to
up that soup.
the tag of the episode, Brett, and apparently Eric has started working at the studio, and he set it up so that way the studio people can come to his parents' house, get coffee from their mugs, and go back to work. Who knows why, but that's what they've done. Which really makes the question, Brett, that we're going to have to wait for next week to talk about. But how many hours is he working for this internship?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little moment where the decaf's in the chip mugs. I put I put decaf in this mug. Chip.
Yeah. And of course, Amy and Alan thought, oh, hey, our son's being nice and made us coffee. A lot of coffee. And then the crew
have
walks
to make
in.
it a year in advance.
And, people are pretty happy. These people love their baked goods. And Brett, that's an episode.
Mm-hmm. That is an episode, which means it's time for the deep dives.
People, 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 people. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
All right, let's go first to television news. The original TV news started in March 1940 with the Lowell Thomas hosted the very first regular scheduled news broadcast on American television. It's also simulcasted to NBC Network radio station. Early days, Edward Roscoe Murrow. The significance of this name is broadcast journalism cannot be overlooked. For those who are remotely interested in the topic, following the advent of FM radio in 1935, Morrow was assigned by CBS, the largest radio network in the United States at the time, as director of talks, but it wasn't until his move to London in 1937 to become the network's chief correspondent for Europe that he became a household name, having gathered the best groups of reporters to work with, famously known as Morrow Bros. He oversaw the creation of what we known as foreign news broadcasting. When Morrow arrived back in New York City in 1941, to his surprise, he became a star, and was hired immediately to host a weekly television program. Television was still in its infancy and hasn't established a news program until Meet the Press ended up debuting on NBC in 1947. So, yeah. Let's switch gears real quick. One thing I will tell you is that one of my favorite shows that I'll watch on every year or so is a little show called Newsroom, which essentially you take the news and you dramatize it a little bit and all the things that go into it and people trying to do good things through the news. So it's classic. I like it. There's a lot of bad words in it, so kids can't listen. Picnics. What's the deal? How'd they get started? Why? Picnic baskets didn't start off as baskets. They started off as picnic hampers. They started off as a travel basket in the 18th century. And there was a lot of coach inns along Piccadilly, and baskets were to be given to people to continue their journey. How long, Brett, does it take to freeze water? It takes about 3 to 4 hours. So that hunk of ice that was in that container, first of all, I think the seal would have had to have been broken on some form, so the coldness could get in there without him realizing it. So depending on how long he's actually out there for, it could be ice, but not truly likely. We talked a lot about kissing, or at least Shawn did this episode, so I thought you'd be interested. And this is taking data from the UK. Kissing, the average studies have shown that men, on average, have more partners than women. Men have kissed on average 20 people, whereas women have kissed on average 15 people. Average age first French kiss. The number of people you kiss is your life. Of course, depends on the age at which you have first real kiss. You can imagine that someone who had their first French kiss at the age of 15 has more than kissing partners in total than someone who had their first French kiss when they were 25. The average age in England that someone has their first kiss is 14. Refrigerators and their lights, Brett. There's a light bulb in the fridge, Brett, and operated by a small lever or push button switch mounted in the door frame of the refrigerator. When depressed by the door closing on it, the switch interrupts the circuit and shuts the light bulb off. When the door opens, the switch completes the circuit and causes the light to illuminate. So essentially what that's saying, for those that aren't aware, there's a switch that whenever you either switch it or the door opens, if this is the other switch, they will connect to each other. If it's open, not together. When it's closed, they're together. Thus the circuit that is what causes the power to go into the light is on, and thus it's why it illuminates in there. And of course that doesn't make any more sense. Here is the church, here is the people. Oh, no, I did it wrong. Who cares? It's late. Tax credit. Alan mentioned it. So, just want you guys to know that in 2021, the amount was increased to $3,000 per child. And some people can actually qualify for $3,600. for any children that are under the age of 6, and also the line for them becoming the threshold is now went from 16 to 17. Brett, we need to talk about presidential scandals. So I have here the 8 biggest presidential scandals. So Brett, I will read off part of the scandal, and you tell me what president you think that person may be.
Okay.
We'll go in the order of latest to oldest. Because why not? It's more fun that way.
Yeah.
I can get by these ads. Okay. We're not going to cover the one that is being litigated right now because that's no fun
Everyone
to get into.
knows that anyway.
Yeah. So, Brett, I'm going to read you off the scandal, and you tell me what, who do you think that president was, okay? So here we go.
Okay.
This first president flew over the site of a horrible accident that occurred. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it was, Brett, but there's know that there was some devastation and was flying over it. And there was a famous person, let's say he was a rapper / entertainer, that said, and I quote, "The president does not care about black people." Brett, what president do you think this was?
Oh. I'm going to guess Bush.
That was George Bush,
Katrina.
yes. George W. The entertainer / rapper in question, Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Hurricane Katrina that I was referring to. I realize that if I don't take away some of the,
You got to remove some of the information,
yes.
or it'll be really easy for some of these.
So Brett, this president, let's just say, had relations in a certain way in the White House that was caught, and people tried to remove him from the presidency.
Well, it depends on what your definition of is, and I'm going to go with Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton is the right answer, correct? All right, this one's a little confusing, but apparently... Okay, so this president, under his watch, there were 7 American hostages taken, and the president decided to negotiate with said terrorist, and in order to release them, they were willing to give away weapons to said grouping. So apparently there's a quote from that president later on in his life said that the situation was arms for hostage deal. Brett, what president do you think this was?
That is a little confusing.
Sorry, it is. I'll give you a range. I'll give you this president was somewhere in the range of the 70s through the 80s. What president do you think this may have been? That's not exact, like, start this date, start this date. I'm just giving you a 2-decade range of when this president could have been. So still recent. This president has passed away, though.
Yeah. Well, we'll go with Reagan.
It is Reagan. Very good.
Hey.
Hey, homeschooling for the win right now, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't know, this one may be a little difficult as well, Brett. Before this president could be reelected, he may or may not have asked some colleagues of his to go into a location, steal some stuff that he wasn't supposed to, and when there was potential evidence that he was holding on to, he tried to get rid of said evidence. Brett, Who might this president be?
That sounds a lot like Nixon.
That is Nixon. Yes, that's Watergate. This president had a messy personal life during his administration. Apparently, he is alleged to have had several improper relationships with people that worked for him, and potentially at least one famous person. Apparently, one of his Secret Service people later on said, "Every day you thought you were risking your life, but you were really actually out there to see that he's not disturbed while he's having an interlude in the shower with two gals from 12th Avenue." Interesting quote. I don't know what that means. Hopefully the young viewers don't know either. Brett, what president do you think this is?
I'm going to go with Kennedy.
That is John F. Kennedy, yes. And, of course, the famous person in question would have been Marilyn Monroe, which we've talked about before on this podcast. But
yes, we have.
All right. This president apparently took control over the oil reserves and took bribes and private money and took bribes, including gifts and no interest loans for the right to deal with said oil. That's all I have on that. I'll give you the range on this because it's maybe a little harder. Is oh, there it goes. I'll give you 1920 to 1930.
Let's see. This is where I'm going to get really fuzzy on who even was presidents during what term.
That's fully understandable.
And I should know this because I remember. I got no clue.
I guess I'll give you this. The last hint I'll give is it's the rights for the Teapot Dome oil fields.
I got nothing.
That's all right. I wouldn't have gotten this either. It's Warren G. Harding. You know, he's a top 10 president.
Someone we really don't talk about anymore, so.
That's true. I'll give you a hint on this last one, Brett. He is a founding father.
I think I might already know.
This president had the first Nick scandal. And yeah, I will just leave it currently as, if I give any more information under this, it'll give it away. So this is the first president to ever have a Nick scandal.
Gonna go with Adams.
Oh, sorry. It was Thomas Jefferson. And that is because it was very much well known that he was having relations with one of his slaves, Sally Hemings. Apparently there is DNA evidence to prove that he fathered a child with said slave at one point in 1802.
Well, 5 out of 7's not bad.
No, 5 out of 7. I mean, honestly, you got the ones that I assumed you were going to get. And honestly, the hint of founding father, it could have been almost any of them, honestly. It's just that this happened when Jefferson was pregnant. When he was president. Wow, brain not working. When Jefferson was I almost did it again. When he was president, the story came out about his slave and them having relations. 1802.
Yep. Yeah,
So.
it was first that tripped me up there.
Yep. Sorry.
All right.
And those are the deep
So
dives.
I guess we need to talk. Yeah, I guess we need to talk about what we learned.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach her that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
Tyler, what did you learn?
You know, one of the things that really stuck out to me this episode is the way that Turner was parenting Shawn. And sometimes I give Turner some, you know, we'll go a little hard on Turner because he should know better as a person that works with teenagers. But one of the things I think he does well with is he kind of allows Shawn to live out his life until he crosses a line. And he's not coming into the situation with authority. He's coming in just, you know, trying to give the most rational advice he can possibly give. And Shawn's looking for some help. He's looking for advice. And he waited for him to come to him for that. And he wasn't sneaking him out, trying to force it upon him. So I'm really impressed with the way Turner handled it. And also pointing to Cory of, do you see this friendship you have? That's what girls are looking for. So, you know, the best thing I think I learned and was reminded of is you got to wait for them to come to you. And you got to be ready for them when they come to you.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to take, we all can learn a little bit from Topanga that too often I see people that are willing to beat around the bush or to sugarcoat or to find other ways to withhold pieces.
Yeah.
But when asked for the truth, tell the truth. Be completely honest. Now, yes, there is such a thing as tact, but when asked for the truth, be truthful. You're not going to help anyone by withholding information, by withholding the truth from them.
Well, I think an additional learn real quick I'll also say is oh gosh, I had it. I'm losing it. Did it go away? Oh, that's right. When it comes to things like, is a re-emphasizing of when it comes to something like a job or trying to get someone's character, because in a way this is a story that's happening simultaneously about what character does Shawn and Eric have? Are they just these, you know, ladies guys that we've seen them as, and that's the thing they talk about the most and the thing they're most confident about. So, you know, the way you interact with someone that doesn't have power shows more of your character than someone that does have power and authority. Because you can be calm and nice and, you know, goody two-shoes when it comes to someone that you can get something from. But when it comes to someone you won't get anything from, how do you treat them? You know, that's why it's important to see how someone may treat someone at a restaurant and someone that is taking care of them and serving them, because how they treat them is a good indicator of how they'll treat you when you're not doing well.
Yep. Well,
I'm right?
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
let's grade this bad boy. Tyler, what grade would you give The Heart is a Lonely Hunter?
You know, it's been a while. I'm going A+. For all the ickiness that I felt earlier, it doesn't detract from how good of an episode this is. And the fact is that it was the ickiness I felt was mostly because of being a dad, but it helped for this journey that Shawn needs to go through. And there's real concrete evidence of character growth in this episode. And him struggling with that, and also Eric struggling in that, and Cory has struggled to find his mittens. You know, this show is really starting to become that thing that we all love, And so, yeah, A+ all around.
You know, I had the same thoughts that the only thing that was holding it back from being an A+ for me was some of that ick factor, but that really just plays into me being a dad and being uncomfortable with having to confront that from the perspective of a dad. But I'm going to go ahead and give it an A+ there. I can look beyond that and see everything else for what it is. So A+ for me as well.
I mean, sometimes I know we've talked about this very openly that we can't see past those things, but it was all used as a way to help the character get where they need to go, which is to grow.
Right. So I believe you owe me a dad joke.
Yes. Yes, I do, Brett. I figured go a little presidential, so some of these are not great, and we're just going to see what happens. So,
Okay.
Yes. How did the president become a chef?
How did the president become a chef? I don't know how.
He had a knack for executive orders.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Not great, but it gets the job done, Brett.
It does. All right. So with all of that, thank you, good-looking people, for stopping by again. You can check us out on all of our social medias at dadsmeetworld. That's Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok, which we're getting a lot of traction on.
Good. Just know that
And
there's
you can
no
email us.
There's no real great dad jokes for presidents. Gosh, that's really disappointing.
There really aren't. Yeah. And you can also email us at dadsmeetworld@gmail.com. Our contest is still running. We need 5 emails. Best one that makes us laugh on air, because we'll read them. Best one gets a t-shirt. Your choice of design.
You know what, Brett? I'm just going to say, if we don't get the 5 in the next 2 episodes, we're going to treat each other to shirts. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. So either we give you a shirt or we're giving each other a shirt.
All right. I like it.
Yeah. And those 5
We got
comics
2
are
new
just-
shirts in the shop, so...
Yeah, the shirt, the comic can always be, treat each other.
All right. Well, until next time, Tyler, I'll see ya.
Back
Good
to you,
looking.
good looking.
You know, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid?
Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. Tell your story.
But oh gosh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's
Yeah, boo boo. I smell a picnic basket.
that's a classic.